Speaking of Mo Salah, David, today, just as I got up, I'd seen lots of stuff coming out about Mohamed Salah saying that there's been no confirmed offer, let's just say, because I can't imagine there hasn't been talks, but there's been no signed, sealed, delivered offer put to him yet to extend. He's made it very clear he wants to. Are you nervous yet?
Yeah, a little bit more than I was. I think the fact, I mean, I would always say if you're looking for positives out of this, again, it's proof that Mo Salah is desperate to stay, and he's a guy who's in a position where I'm pretty sure some compromise will come from his side to get this done. What I would say to kind of calm things down a little bit as well is that, I think that the fact he said there's no offer there, he's being very clever saying that. As you say, there are talks ongoing. Okay, there's not been a formal offer, but you try and get yourselves in a position where there's kind of an agreement there before you start lashing out contract offers. So for me, that's not news, and that's not kind of anything for anyone to worry about. At the moment, Liverpool are in talks with Mo Salah, and those talks are ongoing. And as I say, there's got to be compromise from both sides. Now, Liverpool are under pressure to get that, because how the hell are they going to replace him? But also from Mo's side, we don't know what he's asking about wage-wise. We don't know what he's asking for in terms of contract length. And I doubt he will put that subject out there or any information on that. So we've got to kind of take everything he says with a little bit of a pinch of salt as well. Maybe his demands are a little bit outlandish. You've got to consider that, and Liverpool have got to protect themselves. So yeah, it's one of those. I think what his aim was to get the fans on side and put a bit of pressure on Liverpool, and he's absolutely achieved that. But it's as you were in terms of these negotiations now. As much as that external pressure is now on Liverpool, there's still that need on both sides to find an agreement that works for them. So they keep working towards it, and like I say, they go from not done to done like that. And that but that was the case with Mo's last contract. So it can very suddenly turn. So it sounds and feels really bad at the moment, but you've got to butt heads a little bit before you get to that agreement. So hopefully this is all part of that dance.
I think I might surprise you a little bit with my take on this one, because I can't figure out if I'm angry or if it's genius. Because in one way, you've got Mohamed Salah letting it be known he wants to stay, and there really isn't anywhere else for him. And I wonder if Edwards and Hughes are sitting there going, he's almost doing our work for us, because he's telling us how much he wants to be here. And surely then there's a likelihood of a compromise. So I worked through this in my mind a few ways, and I came up with that I think that if I'm on the other side of this negotiation, I certainly feel like it's bending in my favour right now if I'm Liverpool Football Club, because you can see what it means to him to be here. And also, where else? Where else? We're going to talk about Trent in a minute, and the where else question is going to come up. Where else is he going to get all of this? And not just, if he moves somewhere else now, we won't have the legacy, the records, the history books to be rewriting. It just feels like this is where he belongs. He knows it. The club know it. And I'm more confident than ever, Dave, that, like you said, a compromise will be reached.
This is it. Desperation to stay on his part is absolutely helpful to Liverpool. And you don't want to see them exploit that and force him into these situations where he's having to come out publicly and say these sorts of things. But also, probably Liverpool don't think that they are. And I also, Mo Salah's a guy who knows his own worth, and he knows what happens when he speaks and that people will listen. So he's just trying to flip that pressure back onto them now. But I agree. I think that, he is just showing his cards a little bit, isn't he? And showing that he wants to stay. And I still think, my overall take on this is always that, look, Liverpool know that now. They know that he's desperate to stay. They know that there'll probably be some room for compromise on his side. And if they don't take that olive branch and they don't get it done, that's when we can say, okay, Richard Hughes, Michael Edwards, go and get someone who's going to do what he can do next season. Make sure Liverpool keep winning without him. If you're going to make that brave decision, you've got to back it up by doing something. And I just don't think Liverpool will want to get themselves in that situation, because how can you replace a guy this good? He's at least going to be this good next season, in my opinion. So how do you replace him? Now, I don't think Liverpool want to find themselves there. So I think Mo wants to compromise. Liverpool will want to compromise because they don't want to try and replace Mo Salah. Surely there's, they can work themselves towards some middle ground despite whatever the demands are. So yeah, I still think there's reason for optimism. It was always going to be a tough one. I always said this one was going to be particularly tough, and I still think that's the case. But I think everyone kind of knows what they want, and what they all want is for Mo Salah to stay at Liverpool. So I think they can get there, but it's taking time and it's frustrating, and you just hope it can be resolved soon. But yeah, there's reason for optimism. I agree with you.
And I do also feel like it just feels right for him to be here at the minute. It just doesn't feel like anywhere else he's going to get the adulation. He's going to feel as a home. His family won't be as settled. So, yeah, I'm hopeful on this one. On Trent, though, really, I have to be honest, from my own perspective, I've always said I'm 50-50. I haven't got a clue what's going to happen. Don't know. Not going to second guess it. Just worried. Just would like a resolution one way or the other. So we as fans know that, okay, maybe the club have to look at a right back, or we don't, and Trent's going to stay for his future. Because a lot of the stuff we've said about Mohamed can certainly go over to Trent as well, about where else is he going to get those nights, 4-0 against Leverkusen with the cop in full voice, murals of him around the city. It's a special place to play your football. He knows that. We're not going to undermine it by saying he doesn't, but it would be nice to get at least one or two of these starting to get boxed off.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Trent would be a really good place to start, because he's the one who's, I would say, is most important, just on the basis that he is that local lad. He's coming into his peak years. It should just be a case of Liverpool doing what they did with Mo Salah last time, which is rewarding what you're going to be over these next few years, which is one of the best players in the world. And I truly believe Trent is one of those. And there's no concerns there about decline, is there? They know what they're going to get out of him. So for me, just you've got to get that one done, really. And he's a crucial cog and a local lad, so they can't let that one slip through the fingers. I just don't see how they replace that. Everything he is and everything he represents to Liverpool. So yeah, they've got to move quickly with that one. But I would say, in terms of nothing being heard from him and him being quiet, he has said, hasn't he, in the past, I don't want to do this in public. And I think people are reading into that silence as, oh, well, he's off to Real Madrid. But we've had no indication that is the case. And I'm sure that's an option for him, but no indication that he's. He would have just said to Liverpool by now, look, I'm going to go to Real Madrid. I'm going to sign that pre-contract in January. And there's nothing of the sort that we're hearing at the moment. So again, it's just one of those talks are ongoing. But I think, I think there should be pressure on Liverpool around this one, because, as I say, it's someone in the peak and a local lad, and this contract situation is messy, and there isn't the age element there. So, if you can just thrash this one out, or just get one of them done, just to give fans a lift and end this kind of confusion and worry, that would be a real big positive, because we are now getting to the point where January is just around the corner, isn't it?
So I've noticed a change in narrative coming out of Spain on this, which is quite interesting. It was gone from Liverpool are wasting their time, how dare you, he wants to come to Madrid, from, well, Liverpool now think Trent might stay, and Real Madrid have turned their attention to Pedro, who would love to wear the white shirt of Real Madrid, and Real Madrid have some worries about Trent defensively. If that isn't a microcosm of the whole fickleness of the Madrid situation, I don't know what is.
Well, this is it. I mean, very good at using their media, aren't they, in Spain, to kind of put their points across and try and unsettle players when it helps them, or try and bend the narrative in their the way that they want it to be. So and if you're hearing those noises from that side of things, again, I would always say, when it's anything about maybe Trent leaving or Trent being desperate to get to Real Madrid, or he's told Liverpool he's not in contract talks, anything of that nature from their side, you can take with a pinch of salt. But when it's trying to bend the narrative towards Pedro Porro is a better alternative or something like that, then you imagine that they may be laying the groundwork for disappointment on this front, which again, I think is hugely encouraging. So yeah, fingers crossed. And I do keep saying this, that we're getting closer, because it is kind of running out of time. You don't want to hit January without these resolved.
And then finally, the captain, Virgil van Dijk, which I think everybody believes is probably the one that was always the most likely to get done, or maybe the easiest to get done. Any murmurings on this? There's been some talk on social from very, very, very dodgy accounts that an agreement has been reached. I never believed that, but I am still hopeful. So I just wondered if you heard anything positive maybe on Virgil.
To be fair, if an agreement had been reached, I'm pretty sure Liverpool, as I would know from working there, is pretty much as soon as they are sorted, they get put out there. And that's not just contracts, it's transfers as well. They do not hang around or sit on that information. It's, film the interview, get it done, get it out there. So I'm not quite sure it's there yet. But again, you kind of see him in the Mo Salah video, don't you? Kind of laughing behind him. And he seems very relaxed about it. And again, he's one who has said to us repeatedly he wants to stay. So, and those talks are ongoing. So again, you can have some confidence around that one. I think that, he'd be kind of reasonable in his demands, and Liverpool were reasonable in terms of what they give him. And everyone thinks that it's best that he continues staying at, playing for Liverpool. So, I'm not too worried about that one.